Hi there, welcome along to Outdoor Gear Chat. This is season 3, episode 14, and this is very, very, very exciting. I have genuinely been looking forward to recording this for some time now. I'm joined as usual by Cathy. Hello.
Hi there, I'm Cathy, owner and director of Joe Brown's and the Climbers Shop. And with us today, we have one of our staff members from our Ambleside team who on the 1st of December set off on a bit of a run around the Lake District and became the first person ever to complete a round of all 214 Wainwrights in a oneer, basically, in what ended up being full winter conditions. So welcome, James Gibson.
Yeah, no, you're doing.
Hi, yeah, proper winter conditions. Yeah, as well as you were hoping for. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, quite fortunate actually, because that particular week was very wintry, and it was again like for a few days after. But then the next month or maybe even a month and a half after that, it's been pretty mild. Yeah. There's been barely any snow on the ground. So yeah, I'm pretty lucky in terms of actually getting a winter weather window.
Not that it matters, because it is that time of year anyway. So it would have been a winter Wainwright regardless, wouldn't it? But yeah, like you say, you've had that pinnacle of the challenge now. So for those listeners who've no idea what we're talking about, what was the endeavour? What's the adventure that you undertook?
So basically, in the lakes, Alfred Wainwright basically came up with 214 hills that he believed were very scenic. Quite aesthetically pleasing for him, and they're based all over the Lake District, and essentially the challenge is to link all those hills together. So the round itself consists of 325 miles of sort of running, fast hiking, and then the ascent in between is about 35,000 meters. So what's that, just over 4 times Everest from sea level.
So I've got to get this in there fairly early on. You have my ultimate admiration. You're an absolute legend and also an idiot at the same time. Is that all right? If we set up this slide.
And a few things since I finished.
Well, and coming into it, you are absolute fell running royalty now as well. So the original Wainwright's attempt was set by Joss Naylor. Was it back in the 80s? Is that?
So before Joss Naylor, there was a guy called Alan Heaton that did it.
Of course.
So yeah, he did it. Yeah, early 80. So he did it in. Don't quote me on this. I think he did it in like 85, and then basically Joss Naylor did it the year after and managed to do it just over 7 days. So.
And then since then, yeah, we've had the likes of Steve Birkinshaw, of course, did it. Paul Tierney, Sabs Vergie, and well, yeah, Mel Stevenson, as I know, did it in the ladies one in 2 weeks before Sabs came along and did her attempt as well. But I think that's the list. Is that right? Is that the list?
No? So there is one more person. A guy called Tom Hollins. He actually, he did it in the summer, and basically he set off on the same day as me, doing the Wainwrights in winter. Unfortunately, he didn't finish, but it was just a coincidence that we both started at the same time.
That was incredibly exciting from a spectator's perspective, wasn't it? Seeing the dots and the places where you were like, oh, can they actually see each other in the nighttime? Can you see your head torches?
Yeah.
And that amazing and that I love that from a spectator perspective, that you can the term is the legal term, vicariously live through the adventure by watching your dots go around. Anyway, sorry, I'm hijacking the conversation. Sorry, Cathy, but this is me geeking it up with
This is being recorded. There's me going, ha, I'm gonna have to put my hand up like I'm in school.
I know. I'm sorry. So yeah, do you want to ask some questions now? Sorry, Cathy.
Well, actually, one thing that I think is really important to point out is, James, you were actually all set in 2020, in winter 2020, to do this challenge, weren't you? I know we sort of sat down in the office and talked about it, and you had everything in place. But of course, with COVID issues at the time, it was probably quite a tough decision to decide not to go ahead and do it. But do you think you benefited from that year of extra time, if you like, for training, for planning, and do you think that made a big difference in the success of your 2021 achievement?
Yeah, massively. Yeah, I mean, obviously with COVID and everything else, you know, I sort of see it as a bit of a blessing in disguise, because it gave me another essentially year to train, and to get more experience in terms of, like, you know, specific training for it. So yeah, I do believe that I did much better, like, now when I attempted it than I would have previously. So yeah, to your answer, yeah, I definitely think so.
Do you think you picked up more friends in that year as well to come and help? Because there was quite a few in the end, wasn't there?
Yeah, so I had over 70 people in the end.
Wow.
So, like, it's a massive, you know, team accomplishment. It's not just me. And yeah, I mean, you know, building up to the attempt, I asked so many people, like, if they're more than happy to help me. Loads and loads of people that I'd never even met before, and some, like, amazing athletes in the Lake District itself, and not a single person said no. Everyone was keen to come out. Even when I sent, do you mind coming out and meet me, like, here at 3 o'clock in the morning? No one, like, said anything. So yeah, it just shows how much sort of community support there is in trail running. So
yeah. And what's led to you doing this then? If again for yeah, but I must admit, I don't know a great deal about you. How did you end up at that point of going, yeah, I'm gonna give this a punt? What's your sort of what's you know, I don't want to say this term necessarily, but what's your athletic credentials for what's led to, you know, to you giving it a go?
Yeah, so I've been running for probably about 5 years now. A good friend of mine, Joe Mann, who actually used to work at the Climber Shop, he pretty much got me into running. And, you know, probably, well, basically I work on the hill as well in the Lake District. So, you know, I'm always up and down hills in the summer and all year round, to be honest. So yeah, I've got that. I think I've got that sort of baseline fitness anyway, just from, you know, working. But basically, yeah, I got into running 5 years ago through Joe Mann, and, you know, started off doing, like, rounds. But before that, I went out on probably my second run and recce'd, like, leg one of the Bob Graham. And then I felt fine doing it. And then probably a week or two after that, I went to recce leg 3, 4, and 5 of the Bob Graham, and I was up on time. So Joe was like, "Oh, well, why don't you just crack on and try and finish it?" So basically, I ended up doing an accidental Bob Graham.
Awesome. I love that.
Then,
brilliant.
Yeah. And then basically things spiraled from that. So I, you know, I had done so many rounds, not just in the Lake District, but Scotland, Wales, all over the last 5 years. So I've sort of built up that endurance fitness. And it wasn't until Paul Turney did his round, which I helped out on a little bit in 2019. And I never thought, this is something that I want to do. But when he released the film, you know, it sort of clicked in my head, I wonder if it's possible in winter, because at that point, no one had done it. So yeah, it sort of got me thinking maybe 6-9 months after Paul did his round, and then, you know, once something sticks in your head, it's there, and you can't get it away until it's done.
Yeah, I can well relate to that. And we were just having a conversation just before we started recording, weren't we, Cathy, about similar stuff. Really, is that little tickle, and then you reach this tipping point of going, right, all right, this is going to actually happen now.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how that you get involved in that whirlwind, don't you? Like you said, the enthusiasm, everyone coming forward and going yes, and you're like, all right. I was kind of hoping somebody would say, "Man, don't do it, don't do it."
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so your background is you're an instructor, is that right? You do is it mostly climbing and sort of ML style work that you do on the hill?
Yeah. So a lot of my work is, you know, taking groups in the hills, climbing. So I work in Skye quite a lot as well. Take people on the Cooling Ridge, and, you know, it varies day to day. There's never a single day that's the same. So I got a good variety of work, to be honest.
So James actually we decided he's omnipresent, because we'll be looking on Instagram, and James is putting up pictures of climbing in Cornwall, and then probably like the next day guiding in Skye, and then we'll go in the shop the next morning and James will be standing at the till. It's like, have you had any sleep at all over the past week, James?
There's been quite a lot of times like that where, I've been climbing Old Man Ahoy in Orkney, and then 4 or 5 days later I've been climbing in Cornwall, and then the shop and stuff in between.
That's it. In between 4.5 days in the shop. Brilliant. So that's an important thing about sleep deprivation, I guess, though. In some respects, is it that being and multitasking as well. So but yeah, I know one of the questions that we'd lined up beforehand was about you handing over decision making on the event. And how easy was that, just to be sort of following people really once you got started? Was that something that was a challenge?
Always making decisions in the outdoors, and I had on the round itself, I had real good friends around me, so people that I work with, who equally I make decisions with on the hill, and weather and stuff like that all the time. So my belief in their decisions was always, I trust them whatever they said, to be honest. And I wasn't always looking at a forecast. I wasn't looking what weather was coming out. I had a brief idea what was forecasted, but I left it down to them in terms of like if it would be safe to go out on the hill or if it wouldn't. And there was a number of occasions where it's more sensible to sit out a bit of rough weather than it was to carry on and push through it. And I believe that sort of helps me in terms of the long run, because if I push through, like, sometimes it's forecasted like 70 to 80 mile an hour winds, like, if you push through that, it's going to take it out of you, and that could have an impact later down the line. So my sort of faith in them was, I had no doubts about it, to be honest.
I think it was while we were busy sort of dot watching, and my husband Paul was busy juggling the rota at work to make sure that all the staff that wanted to run with you and support you were able to, because at some points you were really up on your time, other times you were slightly behind, and so there was Paul was sort of juggling behind, and there's sort of current staff members that did quite a few legs with you and did a lot of the distance as well, wasn't there? Which was fantastic. But there was times when I was looking like, oh God, how many staff have we got out on the hill in these conditions?
I appreciate that.
Going to be all right. But actually, knowing the group of people that you were with and the people who were with you on the hill was so solid. I don't think they could have been a better team of people with local knowledge, with mountain knowledge, and with the conditions that you had. It was definitely like a mountaineering expedition almost, being out for that long continually, and with that amount of climbing in those conditions. And I know when you were just saying like the conditions were fairly bad, when I met you guys at the Martindale checkpoint, it's fair to say your support runners, they had to have a bit of time just to kind of come down from what they've just been through for 14 hours, battling through drifts and snow. And I think, did you have one support runner who had an issue with his eyes as well? Because
that was that leg actually, so again, someone that never met before, and this was because obviously, as Cathy mentioned, then there was a lot of times. So there's one point where I was 12 hours up on the schedule that I made. I always knew it was going to be, a rough schedule. It was never going to be accurate. And then again, it sort of dropped down to probably on sort of point in terms of like what the schedule was. And then later down the line, it turned out to be like a day out. So the planning around that is massive. But basically, on that Kentmere to Martindale leg, which is where Cathy met me at Martindale, is a huge leg. So it was supposed to take 9 hours. It took 14 hours, so 5 hours longer than anticipated. And again, like this guy I never met, and someone behind the scenes, a good friend of mine called Matt Handley, managed to organise this guy to come out on this leg, because obviously the people that were sort of penciled in for that leg weren't available. And he sort of set off with us, and I don't think he truly knew what he was getting himself into. I think a good runner, great runner, but didn't quite anticipate the amount of snow, because on that leg itself, like no joke, we were going over snowdrifts about 9 foot. So we were actually having to crawl over these things.
Yeah. And is that I think so? Is that the bit where there was some video footage of you basically sliding down a section on your bum because it was you just like, well, that's going to be the best. I mean, that's going to be the best way to get down, basically. But
it could have been. I mean, there's quite a lot of moments.
It's quite I was going to say that. It could be anyway.
But essentially the snow was getting blown around. It's a lot of spin drift and stuff, and he was struggling to see, and the goggles we had just weren't doing it for him. Like, they were quite tinted, so it was impacting his sort of eyesight. And then midway through that leg, pretty much it was safer for us to make the decision to send him off the hill and get him collected to go home than to carry on. We were only 5 hours to get to that point. So.
Yeah. And that, like we say, there were all those challenges that you would have faced on that event anyway. But Storm Barra piled in and added a level of complexity, which, like you say, it probably helped in some respects because it was a forced rest as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, so, it was. I mean, that was later in the round, so that was probably 3/4 of the way through, just before the far northern fells. And we knew the storm was coming, and before that I'd done like a massive day. I hadn't slept for over 30 hours, whatever it was, and that was having a bit of an impact on me as well. And basically got to Dockeray, and this is probably my lowest point, but I don't know why, I just broke down into tears. I think, to be honest, the trigger for that was probably my support friends. They were always there, like driving the vans and stuff, and just seeing them, I broke down. But basically, at Dockeray, we made a decision on how to approach the storm and how to get through it. So we came up with this plan to have a bit of rest, have some good food, set off on the next 2 legs, and then basically stay in Nosedale and sit out the storm, which was 19 hours, and then set off on the rest as it passed through. So.
And I guess well, absolutely. And I guess though that was made a bit easier in some respects by Tom dropping out, if you'll excuse that, because you were going to set the initial record, so that's nobody can take that away from you, can they? You are the first person to have ever have done that, so it's I know it's a remarkable achievement in anyone's book, but you will always have that, because obviously somebody's going to chase you for it at some point. We'll come to that. Pav's out there now, isn't he? So
Pav is sort of carrying on at the minute, but he had some pretty brutal winds last night. Like, it was gusting 70-mile-an-hour winds, and his approach to it is very different. So he hasn't got the team that obviously I had, unfortunately. And, he has a few people, like Steve Birkinshaw, for example, joined him on leg 1 yesterday,
right,
and helped him out on that leg. And then he set off on the big leg to get to Loweswater, and he did that all by himself, I believe. And, he was in pretty much storm weather. So I can only imagine that would have been really, really hard. I looked sort of before I started work this morning, and he just got to Ennerdale. So still trudging on.
It's an absolute
monster. I'll go out and see him during the week. If he knows him.
Oh, that would give him a lift. So I know people were dot watching where you were, and people were just popping up and meeting you en route, even in like foul weather, with extra food and extra water and just a bit of a cheer and stuff like that. And that must have made a huge difference. Yeah, it did. There's quite a number of occasions like that. It was really nice to just see like people coming out, and people that I never met before, and wishing me good luck. I remember this one point, it was on Littlemouth Fell. So just before the storm hit, it's the leg before that, or a couple of legs before that, and there was this one guy up there. He actually came into the shop like a few weeks later as I was working, but he just came up there by himself, and he was like, he was getting absolutely psyched. He was like applauding me and like saying, "Way, come on!" No one else around him, and it was great to see that.
certainly
Oh,
lifted
superb.
spirits, that's for sure.
And I know everyone like in the support team as well who was out with you. I think you never had a minimum of, or you always had a minimum of 4 people with you on each leg, didn't you? And I saw sort of pictures as you went along. There was one, I think this was after on the big leg actually, that we just talked about earlier. There was just the most astonishing sunrise that morning, and I know you guys all sort of sat down and had a little bit of moment in the snow and watched the sunrise. And the team that came down with you were just citing that as like one of the best times. And
that was probably the whiskey as well, though.
Sorry.
That was probably the drama whiskey we all had as well.
Yeah, whiskey en route. Oh, nice.
But no, it was amazing to see it, and again the sunset that night as well was spectacular. So we sort of been through the whole day, and it was great leg, to be honest. Even though it was half.
And one of the peaks, it was dark, but I did see video footage of as you came onto the summit. Your support runners sort of made an archway of their walking poles so you could go underneath it and touch the summit, which was great as well. Can you remember which one that was?
Yeah, I do. It was Loughrig. So
Loughrig. Just nice.
My local hill. Like probably my slowest ever split going up there, but I felt so slow going up the back of that. Felt like it took me like ages. But as I got to the top, basically everyone that I was with made this pyramid or archway, and it's pretty cool.
Superb. Excellent. And I know the team that were with you on the penultimate peak, a lot of people obviously enjoy going up Cat Bells and running down with you from Cat Bells, but the peak before that, which I've forgotten which one it is now. Maidenmore, that's it. I just saw a super picture of you taken by Sarah McCormack, just enjoying a little Wainwright beer on the summit.
That was on Cat Bells actually.
That was on Cat Bells.
It was on Cat Bells, again, someone who helped supported me throughout the round, basically left this bottle of Wainwright beer on the top, and everyone was watching me as I drank it. So,
might as well by then. Nothing's going to harm the event by then, is there? It's that stage. So we talked a lot about the highs within that, the good stuff. But what were the bad things? What were the bad bits for you? Was there anything that
there wasn't? I've mentioned to a few people, but there wasn't many sections where I felt low, or there was no sections where I thought I was never going to make it. It's really hard to try and pick out any bad bits, to be honest. Obviously we had rough weather, so certainly the Howell Valley range and the Dodds, that was probably the standout toughest weather, because it was cloudy, there was a lot of snow on the ground, you couldn't see the path. I had every faith in Charles Brosen on those legs, who a great navigator, and he did perfectly on those legs and navigated really well. But basically everything was white, everything blended in, and really hard legs, and quite windy as well. But there wasn't really a single section where I said wouldn't make it. The probably lowest I felt was Dockwray, which I mentioned earlier.
And what about physiological issues and stuff like that? Was there anything that sort of impacted on you, or that sort of challenged you from that aspect?
I had a bit of a shin injury, and that that sort of hindered me a bit. It certainly made me slow on the downhill, and it made it a bit tougher. And having that rest while Storm Barra came through, I actually got a physio to come through, and Emma from Fellside, she worked on it a bit, and it felt much better for the remainder of the journey. It wasn't fixed, but it was definitely a lot better than it was. But other than that, nothing else really, to be honest.
No, you even came out to the Christmas do.
Yeah.
The day after you finished, and I know by the end of the evening, you'd sort of got your leg elevated a bit because your ankle was a bit puffy.
Yeah, my
Still
feet.
drinking.
Yeah.
My feet had swollen, like a whole size bigger than normal, but
Right.
you know, you
Yeah.
expect that.
I like that. And I don't know whether I saw or whether somebody had said, but there was when I think Cathy had posted, James has put his order in for the Christmas do, wondering what he's gonna have. And then there was this whole, well, he's having everything. Well,
I pretty much did, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't. We'll all chip in. He can have whatever he wants. It's absolutely brilliant. Can have he's definitely having 5 puddings, that's for sure.
I was looking forward to that roast dinner as I was going around.
Exactly. And a few pints. I think that was the thing, wasn't it? We were saying, he'd be looking forward to a pint, but then the first sip in, you'd just be absolutely out of it. Face down on the table. So we mentioned some of the camaraderie before, or Cathy did as well. So it's the behind the scenes stuff that people don't fully appreciate. Sorry, Cathy, I know I'm hijacking your questions, but I'm getting just dead excited about it. And what goes on behind the scenes. So you're out there on the hill doing the job, for want of a better phrase. But it is a pretty immense undertaking. The rest of it, isn't it? Keeping you going, not just on the hill, but so I don't know. Both of you just chip in a little bit about that. What the stuff that was going on whilst James was doing the event.
Yeah, I mean, well, Cathy might have a bit more insight than I was because I was obviously on the hill. But I always knew that behind the scenes stuff, like the road support side of things, was always going to be tough, regardless, because they're up all hours of the day. Driving in between like the locations, their sleep deprivation is equally the same as mine, and that's again lasts for 8 days. So I had to try and share the responsibility of and not pile that on Matt Hanley, who was the main road support. So I had 2 vans, a main one which Matt was driving, and then a guy called James Ushwood, a good friend of mine. He was driving the other with his girlfriend. So they sort of split the main road support between him. And then before I started, I set up lots of different WhatsApp groups for different legs. So I tried to arrange all that so they weren't worrying about that. And then, I came up with plans with, if something didn't go to plan, sort of what would happen in course of action. I think most of that worked. It's just, it became tougher when, timings came, 12 hours out rather than a couple of hours. But I mean, what I can see, like it all ran flawlessly. I'm sure behind the scenes it was hectic. James and Matt said after I finished, it's one of the hardest things they've ever done. Because obviously they've got to, recharge all my stuff. So watch batteries, not watch batteries, head torch batteries, for example. Like we needed so many of them to cope with the amount of darkness. And charging my watch, charging the tracker. There were so many things to do. And then food, making sure that when I'm sleeping, they're not disturbing me. There was so much. But what did you observe, Cathy? Because you obviously got a much.
Do you know what? When unfortunately I was only able to come in and meet you at the one checkpoint, and but watching the incoming team come in with you, and you disappeared into the van straight away. I don't know how often you got to see the changeover of your kit, because it was just something to behold. The incoming guys, they all got in a circle with the outgoing guys, or whichever group. They all stood around with their head torches, made this pool of light. The incoming team just put everything out, laid it all out on the ground, and everything was just gone through. What's this? Does this need charging? That needs changing. Those gloves are wet. Get some dry this, dry that, dry the other. That's the bag. That's James' personal one. Nobody touched that one. There's all sorts going on. And then as it was done, everything was swapped out. And literally in minutes, the outgoing team had all of your stuff. They were loaded up, and you came out the van having just devoured a massive plate of pasta, just put your torch on and just like, right, we're off. And you were gone. And it was like watching the sort of, when you're watching the bike races and there's all this anticipation, oh great, it's all happening, and then afterwards you're left there in the dark thinking, oh, all that energy's just passed through. Now I'm in a bit of a vacuum.
Yeah.
But honestly, the guys they had it nailed, and it was just something to behold, that swap of kit over for you, and that just watching that support that you had, you didn't that all of that was taken off you. They really just, they were so focused in and out, and I'm sure that happened at every single checkpoint.
Yeah, it was flawless. There's nothing I noticed that could have been improved, to be honest. Like you mentioned earlier, like I do believe that I had the best team I could have had, and anyone could have had. So, massive respect goes to them, hugely.
It felt like, and sort of being part of some of the WhatsApp groups, and being part of the social media side of things, and sort of liaising with some of the guys, with Matt Lavoy and with James Asherwood, and just in the small way that I was able to, just having a little insight into that, it just felt like, I don't want to take anything away from your achievement because it was monumental, but you just felt you had this cloud of friendship and support and camaraderie, and just like, let's just get James around, that's what we're doing today, this is what we're doing, and it just felt like you had that big kind of cozy buffer around you helping you through, and it really was amazing to witness. It was tangible,
and massive appreciate. I appreciate everything for everyone that helped me out. So you, for example, driving all the way from Martindale to Kentmere to drop some people off, and, all those brownies that you made me, and everything else.
God, I slaved over those, James. I mean, I worked so hard. I lost so much sleep over making sure I took them out of the oven at just the right time. I don't think that was that much of an input, really. I appreciate it.
We mentioned kit just then as well. What was there any standout bits of kit that you that you found out was absolutely spot on for you, that really worked?
So I'm very thankful. Obviously, I work in an outdoor shop, work at a climbing shop. So I'd like to say I know the kit that works fairly well, and I was kindly supported by Mountain Equipment as well. And I believe they do some of the best outdoor kit you can get. So I was very fortunate in terms of like having a lot of kit that I could use. And I mean, the sort of jackets that I used, which was a 2-plaque Atmo, the Mountain Equipment one, and again the 2-plaque, the thicker sort of version, it breathed really well throughout, because obviously I was exerting a lot of energy, I was getting quite warm, and again it kept the wind off and it kept me dry. So you just need kit that works, and there was so many pieces of garments that I used that just did the job perfectly. Good layers of bottoms, everything. So.
Well, and that you sort of half expect that, wouldn't you? Obviously, given given the jobs that you do as well, you'd have all that. And was it? I know Cathy's just sort of made reference a few times to the food and stuff like that. Was there any? What's your favourite? What's your favourite grub? Was there anything, or was it just pile the calories down and get on with it?
Yeah, pretty much. So I when I do when I'm out on the hill, I prefer to have like real food rather than like gels and stuff like that. There was rarely occasions where I had them. So just a huge variety of different food, really. So sandwiches of all different kinds, like and then like chocolate bars. Basically, you can eat whatever you want. You know damn well you're not going to put any weight on. So just try and get as many calories in as possible, really. There was one occasion where I was on a leg. It was actually the big Kentmere to Martindale leg. I absolutely hate fish, and the only sandwich they brought by accident was a tuna baguette. I was pretty gutted. So I think I had someone else's lunch.
I like that. Such a diva, like that. But what would your favourite thing be then? Your favourite grub? Or what was it? Yeah, was there something that hit the point? For example, on some of the endurance stuff that I've done, a fig roll. I had a fig roll once, and it was one of the best things that I've ever eaten.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, exactly. Kathy's pulling her face there, but it was absolutely. And then on another occasion, I had a cherry bakewell, and that was just, it made me cry. It was that good. Yeah. Was there anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, some of the you're trying to think, really, to be honest. There was, Cathy made brownies, and not only Cathy, there was also people that work in like bakeries and stuff that also made similar type things, brownies and stuff, and they were full of chocolate, Oreos, everything, to be honest. And some of them definitely hit the spot for sure. But no, I couldn't really single out a particular piece of food, to be honest.
That's good. Yeah, good diplomatic term there. Yeah. No, we're coming up to. We've only got a couple of minutes left on now, but yeah, the Cathy mentioned. I don't know whether it was right at the beginning of the conversation or just before we started, but about the fame, are you getting asked for your autographs when people come in the shop and stuff like that now? Is it?
We did actually have someone come in the shop and bow to you, didn't you?
Yeah. It's mad.
For those at home that can't see, he has got a crown on while we're talking here as well. Little
sash that says Wainwrights.
It's something that I've never been used to, or never get used to. But just walking around the streets, for example, and then people recognizing me, saying "well done," and it feels very, very odd, but
well, I say, because it's not why you did it at all, is it? But it is an output of you having done the event. That people are going to recognise you. Yeah, as with others that have come before you, as well. Yeah, you just seem like a nice humble bloke. Anyway, it's not as though you've got to change that.
It's nice being a part of that. Very small elite club of amazing athletes, and my respects would being to them, and it's just been great to I guess join that club. Join
the club. I know. I'm just trying. It is absolutely. I've just seen Pavel is over Ennerdale way right now. So he's on his 36th peak by the looks of it on his winter attempt. So he's way out in the wild west of the county, quite literally. But he's so what's that? He's got a long old way to go anyway for the 214, hasn't he? If he's only on 36, 37.
He
has. Good luck to him.
Well, indeed, So that's us. This has been Outdoor Gear Chat. Thank you, James, for joining us. Amazing, mate. Like I said, I've been looking forward to this chat for some time. Great to have you on. And Cathy, do you want to sign off for us?
You can actually read a little bit more of James's achievement written in real time on our blog page on www.climbers-shop.com.